Hello, and welcome to my How to Tank video series, Paladin version. My name is Ozben, and in this video I will go over all you need to know to start tanking as a protection Paladin. First off, it is important that you wear the correct armor. At level 15, wear only male armor with either strength or stamina on it, or hopefully both if you can get that. At this level, it is acceptable to wear whites, but you should replace them as soon as possible. Also, do not wear cloth or leather. Since these types have less armor, you will be taking more damage than you would if you were wearing mail. Now at level 15 you only have a few abilities, so you don't have many options to choose from at this level. But that doesn't mean you can't be a great tank. Let's get started. Crusader Strike is on a 3-second cooldown and it grants you a charge of holy power. Judgment is an instant cast that deals holy damage to a target within 10 yards. It's on an 8-second cooldown and regens 30% of your mana. Devotion Aura grants you armor based on your level. Make sure every time you level to turn it off and turn it back on because it will not adjust itself automatically. Word of Glory heals you or a friend per charge of holy power on a 20-second cooldown. This is very useful in big damage fights. Righteous Fury is a must-have for all protection paladins. It increases your threat done in combat. This should always be on unless you switch specs or you turn it off manually. Hand of Reckoning forces an enemy to focus his attacks on you, and it is on an 8-second cooldown. Hammer of Justice is a 6-second stun on a 1-minute cooldown. Avenger Shield throws your shield at a target and 2 additional enemies nearby, interrupting all spells and silencing them for 3 seconds. It's on a 15-second cooldown. When you are tanking, you have to make sure you are really paying attention to the ground and staying out of any area of effect spells, such as fire or void zones. These generally do a lot of damage, and if you can avoid these, it'll save your healer a lot of mana. Make sure you keep a steady pace and pull what you're comfortable with. A lot of times DPS is going to want to rush you through a dungeon and will continuously pull mobs for you. Just pay attention to what they're doing and you'll be able to handle it. Also, make sure you are always using your judgment whenever it is off of cooldown. It keeps your mana regenerating, which allows you to be a better tank. When a DPS is attacking the same thing you are and it dies, to reduce the time in between attacks they will tab to the next target. Sometimes it isn't the same mob that you are attacking. Be ready for this with a taunt or a few simple melee attacks. Most of the time it is not intentional and isn't something to be frustrated about. Just simply keep your head and you will be fine. When you tank a mob, try to stay in the same spot. Do not pull and run in circles trying to be fancy. It just makes it a lot harder on the melee DPS. Only move if you have to. And when you move out of an AoE, make sure there's enough room behind the target and the AoE on the ground for the melee DPS to sit comfortably behind the boss. A couple important things to remember. Never ever open up with a taunt. It does cause them to attack you, but you have no threat on them. And if they don't reach you before the taunt wears off, they will probably run straight for your healer. Make sure you always have the mob or boss facing away from the group. You don't want the healer having to waste mana because someone got caught in a cleave that was avoidable. Also, it's easier to keep targets in front of you if you steer and turn with your mouse. Try to get used to using key bindings and not clicking on all your spells. It makes it much easier once you get used to it. If your judgment and your shield is on cooldown, just run up and Crusader Strike him. It's much better than running up and taunting. Alright, so let's recap. Make sure your seal is always up so that way you can use judgment. Use judgment every time it is off cooldown so you can keep regenerating mana and using your abilities. Open up your fights with Avenger Shield when you can. Try to keep 3 charges of holy power for your Word of Glory during heavy damage fights. Do not use Word of Glory every chance you get, because going 20 seconds without a heal in a fight could be deadly. It's your emergency button, save it for just that. Make sure you refresh your devotion aura every time you level, so that way you can get maximum use out of it. Never start without having Righteous Fury on. Use your Avenger Shield whenever you are trying to hold multiple mobs and taunt and attack the ones that it misses. And don't forget about your stun. Don't be afraid to use it. It's a 1 minute cooldown and makes life a lot easier for the healer when you're taking one less mob damage for 6 seconds. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I will be making more how-to guides for every tanking class and healer class in the near future. Ozben here. Thanks for watching.